Welcome everyone. Welcome to the School-Based Family Resource Center virtual visit. We are so excited you are here. Today we get to showcase North Hancock and Kentucky's Family Resource Youth Center Service Center. We are so excited you all have joined us. I would love to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Johnson Dungy. I am the National Parent Leader and Training Development Manager for National Family Support Network. I have been a part of NFSN since February of this year, and I absolutely love working with all of our staff and families and networks. So again, welcome. Let's go ahead and go into the overview. So what will we be doing today? We're going to do a Family Resource Center overview of what's happening at North Hancock. We're going to do the virtual site visit, and then we will close. No evaluation in this, but we will close and go over to our national forum. So, family resource centers. Thousands of family resource centers have emerged organically across the country, yet their existence is still largely under the radar as America's best kept secret. So a family resource center is a community or school-based welcoming hub of support, services, and opportunities designed to support families to be strong and successful. They may be community-based, like the image on the left of a family resource center in Vermont, or they may be school-based, like the image you see on the right from Kentucky, where we're visiting today. They also may be in rural settings, like the image you see on the left from Colorado. Uh, we You'll also find them in urban settings, like the image on the right of a family resource center in the Bronx and New York City. So let's find out how familiar you are with family resource centers, with family resource center networks, and where you're joining us from. So Katie, will you launch that poll for us? We want to know who's in the room. So where are you joining us from? Are you joining us from the Northeast, the South, Midwest, West, Canada, others? Go ahead and fill that in. And after you fill in question number one, we want to know, what is your affiliation? Are you a family resource center? Are you a part of the network? Are you another type of family support program? Are you an amazing parent leader like myself? Are you in a community action agency, early care and education, government, private funders? We want everybody at the table when we talk about family resource centers. And which level do you work at? Do you work at policy systems level, management level, program direct service level, other? So let's go ahead and answer some of those questions. We want to know who's in the room. I'm going to give it just a few minutes so we can see lots and lots of answers up there so we can really identify what the diversity in this room looks like. Almost there, a couple more people. We want to get to know who is visiting us and coming to Kentucky with us today. All right, Katie, will you go ahead and close that poll for me? All right, so where are you joining us from? A good portion of people are joining us from the West, 36%. And then we have about 29% following that in the Northeast. Well, welcome everyone. We're so excited to have a diverse perspectives from across the United States here. What is your affiliation? Family Resource Centers. So you all are doing the work that we're going to talk about today. So exciting to see that 50% of you are with Family Resource Centers. And then after that, we have about 17% with other family support programs. And then the Family Resource Center Network is about 8%. And we have some government in here, 17%. Love it. And other, I would love to know what the other is. If you want to put it in the chat, we would love to see that. But no worries if you don't. We just love to see who all is in the room. And question number 4, which level do you work at? Do you work in that one? 30% was tied that we have a lot of management in here. We have a lot of programs, direct service level. And we have some policy systems level, which is right behind that, and others. So amazing that we have a good, diverse group of people who will get to hear about what all is happening in Kentucky, and be able to share the great news. Awesome. So we talked about the different types of family resource centers. Wherever they are based, family resource centers work with families with an approach that is not only two-generational, but it is multi-generational, strengths-based, and family-centered. Each of these concepts is important. When we talk about multi-generational, I'm sure you may have heard of two-generational or two-gen work. Well, family support is the original of not just two-gen, but multi-gen work, as programs work with children, parents, and grandparents, and all other caregivers. Um, it's strength-based, right? Because we see families as having strengths that we want to support them to build upon. And it is family-centered because everything that we do has families at the center. They are designed for all families, not only low income or highly challenged ones. So the support that family resource centers provide is non-stigmatized. It's making more readily accessible. Programming is provided at no cost or low cost for participants. The image that you see to the right is of a family success center in New Jersey. There are 57 family success centers across all of the state's 21 counties. Each county has at least one, and typically for them, it's one family success center. That includes highly affluent counties as well as highly challenged counties. Because again, the belief is that all families could benefit from access to support for two of the most important roles we can have as adults, being parents and being spouses, partners. Two of the most important roles we could have for which we typically receive no support, no training, hence the value of universal access to family resource centers. Strengthening family protective factors. Can I see a show of emojis, hearts, if you have heard about strengthening family protective factors? Who's heard about those? We would love to see some hearts, some emojis. Awesome, awesome. All right, so the strengthening family protective factors, they come from the Center for the Study of Social Policy. And research has shown that these 5 protective factors, they increase family stability, they enhance child development, and they really reduce child abuse and neglect. So as we're working with families, we want to support them to build these protective factors because we know that they make a positive difference. So the protective factors: parental resilience, social connections, concrete support in times of need, knowledge of parenting and child development, and social and emotional competence of children. If you want to learn more about strengthening families' protective factors, please see the CSSP website. It's at the bottom if you want to take a picture of that, and this will also be loaded to our website. Family resource centers. There is no dedicated federal funding for family resource centers currently. Unlike Head Start, home visiting, or other after-school programs, yet there are now more than 3,000 of them working with more than 2 million people annually. So why are so many public and private funders at the state, county, city, and community levels choosing to invest in family resource centers? Let's find out. Simply put, family resource centers are just a good idea. They are cost effective. They are highly adaptable for various communities, whether they're urban, whether they're rural or ethnic. They have successful outcomes and have demonstrated these successful outcomes through multiple external evaluations. Family resource centers are conveniently located hubs. They bundle and co-locate many services that may be familiar to you, such as home visiting, evidence-based parenting education, health screenings, play groups, fatherhood programs, family counseling, and food banks. You all do amazing work in the Family Resource Centers. So now it is my pleasure to introduce to you our amazing speakers from Kentucky. We have Lacey Mosby, the Family Resource Center coordinator for the North Hancock Elementary School-based Family Resource Center, and Miss Marianne Jennings, one of our NFSM board members and the Assistant Director of the Division of Family Resource and Youth Services Center in Kentucky, with us today. So I am going to go ahead and hand it over to you, Miss Marianne Jennings, to tell us a little bit more about the Kentucky Family Resource and Youth Service Centers.
Thank you so much. We're very happy to be here. And again, I'm the assistant director here at in Kentucky for the Division of Family Resource and Youth Services Centers. This has been a career for me. So I started in a local center over 30 years ago. I've worked at the high school level and elementary school level, and then in several different positions in our state offices. So they said they can't hear the new speaker. Is everyone having trouble or?
I can hear you, Marianne.
No, I think, okay, great. I will continue. But Lacey is here and she's going to tell you a lot about her center and the work she's doing at the local level. But we wanted to give you just a little bit of a picture of where we came from, the history of our centers here in Kentucky, and the work that we're doing. So to start off, our Family Resource and Youth Services Centers came about because of our educational system in Kentucky. There was a Supreme Court ruling in 1989, and it deemed our system was there was no equality. It was unconstitutional. It was not. We were not serving the students of Kentucky across the state. And so, with that, legislators across Kentucky came up with what was called at that time the Kentucky Education Reform Act. That actually passed in 1990, and it was a very sweeping legislation. It changed all aspects of education in Kentucky. But one of the things that it did do, and it is the only piece of Kentucky Education Reform Act that is still intact today, is that it created the Division of Family Resource and Youth Services Centers. And so the legislation was adopted in 1990. Our first centers opened in 1991. And I think there were probably about 83 centers, I think, when our centers first opened. And so that was in 1991. And then Lacey's center actually opened in the 92-93 school year. Obviously, she was not the coordinator then of that center, but it did open. So the center you're going to hear about today is one of the early centers that were brought on board in the infancy of our Division of Family Resource and Youth Services Centers. So when we were looking at the beginning of our centers, there was a philosophical premise that they looked at and they talked about in our development. And there are three underlying things that we look at in all of our programming and services and the work we do in our communities. One is they saw the need for increased parental involvement. Students are more successful when parents are involved, and so that was really an important piece that the developers of this program wanted to have and a very important piece. The second was service brokerage for students and families. We never felt like that our centers could be everything to everybody, but we felt like that if there was a coordinator in place, that they would be able to find resources for families that needed and could support them where they were in the educational system. And then finally, a broader community development. There were lots of resources in our communities, but there wasn't one single place or entity that was really organizing those or how to actually find those resources. It was families just trying to seek those out within our communities. And in Kentucky, what we've been able to do is actually have our resource centers that are coordinating finding resources for families and then helping them access them. So that was really an important piece in Kentucky as we were developing our centers. As we move forward, just to share a little bit about our funding structure that we have in Kentucky. So we are all general state funded dollars, and we are a combination of education dollars, and also we have our Cabinet for Health and Family Services, which is our child welfare cabinet here in Kentucky. And we have funding from both of those entities in state general fund dollars, and that's what funds all of our family resource centers. And I'll mention our level of funding here in just a couple of minutes. But the way that works is the education funds that are given out of that general are automatically transferred to our Cabinet for Health and Family Services. And so the administration of the entire Family Resource and Youth Service Center program comes through that Cabinet for Health and Family Services. So there's a connection there between those two largest entities that are serving families in Kentucky. And that was really a forethought that the people that created this division had and has worked really well. So the Cabinet for Health and Family Services houses our division of Family Resource and Youth Services centers. Within that, we have a division staff, and it includes a central office, but the most important piece is it includes regional staff. And so that regional staff actually works with our local Family Resource and Youth Services centers, and they are looking at technical assistance, contract compliance, because we want to be sure that our centers in our school have the ability to operate in a way so that they can serve families and students looking through this lens that they have, a special lens to look at families, and that they can focus all of their time on that. And so those regional folks really play a key part in ensuring that Lacey, just for example, can do the work that she's supposed to do in that school. And so that we get our funding to our schools through a contract. So there is a need-based uh, that establishes a center. So they have to have at least 20% free and reduced lunch. Once they meet that threshold, they write a competitive grant, they're awarded the funds. But then there is a contract that the district uses, and they actually are able to hire the center coordinator at the local level. And so then that center coordinator administers all of the functions of that contract and the work that they're supposed to do for family resource centers. So another piece of our funding is we do receive in a total around 74 million state general fund dollars. Most of that money goes out to local family resource and youth services centers. We only keep a small portion for administration. The minimum amount that a family resource or youth services center can receive in Kentucky is $50,190. And then the maximum that they can receive is $94,500. What that does, or we hope that does, is ensure that there's at least one full-time coordinator in that center year round. We know that services and resources to families do not end when the school year ends. And so we want to be sure that there is a full-time coordinator in that center at all times to be able to help find resources and services for families. And so while there's not a huge amount of operating budget left over after that, we are hiring that one person and they are able to tap into their local resources. And you'll hear a lot about that from Lacey in order to do the rest of the programming and services that they do to families. I'd mentioned that our center's based on free lunch eligibility. So they receive a certain amount per student, and that's how that funding level is set. So each free lunch student that is in that school, they're going to receive, for example, this year, $210 for each student, starting at the minimum with that 50,190, but they wouldn't receive any more than 900 or 94,500. But the key for all that is that just is how we set our funding. All students are served by our family resource and youth services centers, and that's what's important. The things I've mentioned are just our ability to establish a center and establish funding. But there wouldn't be any student within the school that would be turned away if they were to have a need. Another piece is we are a big network in Kentucky. We have been serving families for over 35 years, and through that, we have been able to open 961 centers across Kentucky. We're serving over 1,200 schools here, and that would be over 650,000 students as well. As you notice here, it's 670 plus students across Kentucky that we are serving. We are in almost every school district in Kentucky, and we are able to have a center in almost every school that is eligible. We do have a few that would be eligible that do not have centers, just simply because new schools open all the time, or they weren't able to apply at a certain time, but that would be less than 10 schools across the state. So we really do feel like we're fully implemented across the state of Kentucky. Just to kind of share with you a few things that we feel like have really helped us, have been embedded in our programming and helped us be successful and sustain this work for so many years. We have what are called advisory councils. Each center is required to have an advisory council. Within that council, they have to have representatives from the community, parents, their school communities. And then if they're serving a middle and high school, they actually have to have students on those councils. So those councils meet so many times throughout the year, and they're really, they are, in what they say, advisory, but they are helping to guide the programming, assessing the need, and really assisting the center in developing the work that they're doing there in their school community. So they really are an integral part in the work that they do and have been a really important asset to the centers over the years. We are encouraging them to be community focused. So we are continually talking about assessing need of their school community. And so no two centers are going to look alike. And I think that's something, a theme that you hear when we're across the United States with family resource centers, that you never see one that or two that look the same. They are very individualized for the communities that they serve. And we are always continually asking the centers to assess the needs of the school community and the students that they're serving so that they are tailoring the programming that they're doing to the needs the of the stakeholders and the school community that they serve. And we also want them to be flexible. There has to be, while they have core components they have to address, there's a lot of flexibility within that. And that goes back to community focus, community needs. And that is so important. They can also adjust programming of the changing communities. So if there were to be mid-year, if there were to be things that happen, I hate to mention COVID, but that was such a key part, and our centers just shifted immediately to meet those needs and just started moving their programming around that. There are times when maybe factories shut down and the situations that the families are in would change immediately. And we are always encouraging our centers to change with their changing communities. So maybe a factory would move in actually, and then that would be an influx of families there. And so then they're asked to adjust at all times to meet the needs of those communities. And then finally, we're committed to quality, and our centers have implemented the standards of quality, National Family Support Standards of Quality, and they have been key for us in looking at and assessing how we are serving families, how we are integrating families, how we're being family centered, our evaluation. All of those pieces have really tied into the work we do with our families and centers. And I would say that being in education, there are a lot of standards that are set out there for various groups. The standards that are set for science, English. There are standards for our social workers, for our guidance counselors. And so we too can have a language that we speak with uniformly that talks about our family resource and youth services centers, and that's the standards of quality. And so they really are a key piece for us as well. So that gives you kind of an overview of our state in Kentucky. And so Lacey is just one of those 961 centers, and she is doing an excellent job. And I'm going to turn it over to her and let her share with you about her work.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Lacey Mosby. I'm the coordinator here at North Hancock Elementary Family Resource Center. This is my 10th year as the coordinator here at North Hancock. I am so blessed that I grew up in Hancock County and that I get to work in my community and serve the families in Hancock County. And also, I just want to kind of mention too that as we go through this, I'm definitely going to spotlight a lot of strengths and some of my programming, but I also am going to share some struggles and obstacles that I come across. We'll go ahead and into the community and population of Hancock County. We are a small rural community, just over 9,000. We do have a lot of industry and business that is very supportive of our school and our family resource center. We're located just about an hour and a half drive from Louisville, Kentucky, and we sit right on the Ohio River. Indiana's just right across from us. So Hancock County Public School Districts, we have 4 schools in our community. We've got our high school and middle school, and then there's North Hancock Elementary and South Hancock Elementary. On to North Hancock Elementary, we are located in Lewisport, Kentucky. We are the largest school in our district by student population. We have about 456 students. That's grades preschool through 5th grade. We've got, you can see, mainly white non-Hispanic. We've just had several Hispanic families move into our community. So that's been an adjustment for our school, for my Family Resource Center. But it's great. So like Marianne said, you know, you may have families move in and you're going to have to adjust your programs and services to meet the needs of your community. So that's what I'm doing right now. So, and then we have 67% free and reduced lunch of our student population, and that has increased about 15% for my families here at North Hancock since I started. So that's definitely changing there. And just real quick, sorry, I do want to kind of go ahead and mention again what Marianne said. Main goal of FRC, we're here to meet the needs of all children and families who reside in the community served by the school in which the center is located. So, and you know, a lot of times we are seen as a center who just provides services and programs for low-income families, but that's not the case. We are here for all students and families. So now we'll go ahead and take the virtual tour of North Hancock Family Resource Center. Welcome to North Hancock Elementary, home of the Hornets. My name is Lacey Mosby. I'm the North Hancock Family Resource Coordinator. School-based FRCs are designed to address the needs of children by developing partnerships with the school, community, and family in order to help all students reach proficiency. Please come inside to check out the North Hancock FRC and see how it supports our students and families. The Family Resource Center is located just through the front entrance of the school building. The Family Resource Center operates during school hours Monday through Friday, occasional weekends and after-school events, and by appointment during after-school hours as needed. The coordinator, myself, is the only Family Resource Center staff at this school. Let's take a look inside. Welcome to North Hancock Family Resource Center. As you can see, the FRC has a welcoming atmosphere. Its location makes it easily accessible to families who either need to meet with me for basic needs assistance, who are new to the school or community, or who just want to check in throughout the day. The door is always open to the families, students, and staff at North Hancock. Families who enter the FRC may often request assistance with basic needs, such as food assistance, utilities, Christmas assistance, transportation to appointments for their student, clothing or shoes for their student, assistance with rent or finding housing, or referrals to health services such as dental programs like our School Smiles, vision, through the Lions Club to get eye exam and glasses, mental health referrals to our school-based therapist, local health care, and others. A resource directory is available at all times for families who request assistance. And if available, forms are given to families to receive services from other agencies. The Backpack Food Program is one of the main basic needs assistance programs of the FRC. Eligible families will receive a backpack of food every Friday for the students over the weekend. Community businesses and churches fully support this program by contributing food and monetary donations on a monthly basis. Inside the FRC closet, you will find clothing, hygiene items, cleaning supplies, and school supplies. The clothing is available for students who have accidents during the day and need a change of clothes. Hygiene items are available to families as requested, and school supplies are available throughout the school year for students who need replacements. A majority of the clothing items are donated by St. Vincent de Paul or individuals in the school community, and the school supplies are collected from local businesses and individuals who are shopping at Walmart during our Step the Bus event. The Family Resource Center also runs background checks yearly every school year and recruits volunteers for field trips, book fairs, picture days, Family Resource Center programs, and the Retired Volunteer Program. A weekly FRC Happenings newsletter is sent to families multiple ways digitally. The newsletter notifies families of upcoming school and community events, as well as FRC events and services, and provides links to trainings. for foster and adoptive families, and any other information that is seen beneficial to the growth and success of our families. Every Kentucky Family Resource Center has a budget that is overseen by the coordinator. The operational allocation is different for every Family Resource Center because it is based on free and reduced lunch percentage. The coordinator also keeps track of program data to evaluate effectiveness. With the adoption of the standards of quality, I have used the standards for self-evaluation and to demonstrate the quality of work with my families. I use the evaluation standard to ensure continuous improvement and look at areas of program strength and weakness. Lastly, the Family Resource Center partners with the community and the FRC at South Hancock Elementary for various programming. For those reasons, some of the FRC programming takes place outside of the school building. For example, the public library, extension office, or a local church. Let's walk across the hall and enter the front office where you'll meet the office staff and administration that the Family Resource Center works closely with. And then we will tour various spaces in the school that are used for FRC programming. The Family Resource Center is a part of the school's leadership team. Here I have North Hancock's principal, Dr. Jacob Bryant.
Hello, yes, Miss Lacey serves on our school leadership team, and her role as the FRC coordinator here at North Hancock is just part of the lifeblood that goes into the school. She, again, like I said, she's part of the lifeblood that just pumps all of the resources into the places that they need to go. She fills many of the gaps that we have throughout the day, and without her presence, I can't imagine where we would be as a school. Very proud and thankful for her.
The Family Resource Center also works closely with our school counselor. This is Sana Miller. We have collaborated on several different small groups and family events, such as our Girls with Pearls and Guys with Ties 5th grade groups to teach them life skills. We've also worked on Girls on the Run together and after school running and social emotional club. And we've also worked together on events such as Turkey Time and Family Mission Night to help just grow our families and help them succeed beyond the school. The Family Resource Center works closely with our office staff. This is our school secretary, Shannon Case. I work with her on attendance if students are having trouble making it to school on time or having tardies. She kind of gives me a heads up so I can contact parents and see if there's something that the Family Resource Center can do to help alleviate that issue. We also work on school records if students need assistance with getting dental, vision, birth certificates. I'll reach out to those parents and help fill those needs so that she has those records for those students on file. This is another area that I host my programs and events in the library. I hold parent workshops. We have parent and child time together in the library working on different activities. And we also have a kindergarten orientation where we meet our parents in here to let them know of school expectations for their child. The Family Resource Center uses the gym for school assemblies and different family nights that have a huge attendance. So we have used this for our family science night, and for our school assemblies we've had our Hooked on Science and other programming to help enrich what students are learning during the school day. So one of the areas that I hold my events and programming is in the cafeteria. We actually just had our grandparents' lunch today, so this area was filled up, but we always try to provide food for our families to get them here, and it just helps when you are hosting evening events to have that available, making it easier for the families. Thank you for visiting the North Hancock Family Resource Center. Okay, so we'll go on to a sample calendar of events. I do provide a weekly FRC Happenings newsletter, and that is sent out digitally on multiple social media platforms. I can drop that link into the chat if you would like to look at what that newsletter looks like. Again, I send that out weekly, but I try to post events, a couple of months out, just so families can kind of go ahead and put that on their calendar. So I apologize, the calendar of events on the right is not very detailed. I don't really put, I guess, a calendar together and hang that up again. I use that newsletter to give my families all of that information that they would need about upcoming events in the school and community. Next, we'll go on to the core components. So before I talk about family literacy services, I just want to talk a little bit about family resource centers address what are known as core components. The core components are mandated in legislation, and the manner in which individual centers address those core components and develop optional components is determined by an ongoing assessment and evaluation of the school and community needs and available resources in partnership with the school's comprehensive school improvement plan. So the following are core components for family resource centers. We have family literacy services, after school childcare for children ages 4 to 12, families in training, health services or referrals to health services or both, and full-time preschool childcare for children 2 and 3 years of age. And I told you I was going to talk about my, struggles and obstacles, and this is one of the components that I feel like I struggle with the most on providing services or activities, programming, because my county is rural and we lack childcare in our community. We've been deemed a childcare desert. So, and the goal of this component is to provide access to full-time quality childcare. So we previously, the last few years, had a child development center for that age group, and I would refer to the child development center, but it has recently closed because due to staffing. So that's a very difficult core component for me to feel like I reached successfully, but it's always one that I'm trying to figure out ideas and look to other coordinators to what they're doing in their center to make sure I'm reaching the needs of our families. I'll go ahead and talk about family literacy services. So the goal of family literacy services is to move families toward self-sufficiency and work to break the cycle of poverty by providing a comprehensive family literacy program through ongoing center, school, and community activities for children. So you can see that this core component is broken down into 4 areas. You've got child time, parent and child time, and adult education. For child time, you can see some of the programs I have are directly related to transition to support like your preschool, kindergarten, and middle school. We have an early start Little Hornets program, several kindergarten orientation type of programs. Here are some pictures. As you can see, we've got kickoff to kindergarten. That is parent and child time there. Our parents go with an agency to talk about the transition to school, what they can do to help their child be ready for kindergarten. And then the kindergartners or upcoming kindergartners get to go with a teacher and do some activities while the parents are doing their workshop. We have an early start program that meets on Fridays in the school. We've seen that this program is very successful in just easing that anxiety that our incoming kindergartners have about starting school. And so we feel like the more opportunities that we can have our parents and our students in the building, just the easier that first day of school is going to be. And then we've got kindergarten open house and parent orientation. Oh, can we go back one slide? Sorry. And that's just, again, another way to get our families in the door of the school and just give those positive experiences. We can go on to the next one. This was one of my math and reading night events. We had a theme that year was all about magic. So we had a Magic of Winter and family night. So we had some fun activities for our students, but we also had math and reading activities for our students to work with their families. So they're kind of knowing that what skills and what they're learning during the school day. And we had teachers there available to help if there's any questions or just to give guidance. And then, like I mentioned in the video, we've had a Hooked on Science school assembly and family science night, and that was a huge turnout. But it was great. I think that was right after we had about 5 snowed-in days, so everybody was ready to get out. But so they had stations after the family night assembly that they got to go around with their parents and to work on those activities. And then a couple more events for one of these is a transition. We have Hornet Life. I actually partner with the South Hancock Family Resource Center and the Middle School Youth Services Center. We do that transition for 5th grade going into 6th grade. And again, it's just an opportunity to get them into the building, to meet faces of new teachers and meet new friends from the South Hancock, North Hancock, and South Hancock. And they get to tour the school. And then the family mission night is one that I mentioned with our school counselor. We are a Leader in Me school. So one of the nights that we did with our student-led conferences was a family mission night. Families came in and we talked to them about what those are, and they made their own family mission statement, and we posted those up on a bulletin board, and there's some examples there, and they turned out great. So go on. Okay, so the next component that I'll talk about is the after-school component. After school childcare, and again, this kind of goes along with the preschool childcare. We don't have a lot of full-time childcare during the summer. We usually have to refer to the YMCA in Indiana, just about 15 minutes away, or in Owensboro, which is about 30 minutes away. But we do provide an after-school program, so there's some clubs that we provide, and as you can see, there's some listed there. And then we collaborate with other community organizations to host some summer camps, like Camp Basswood and 4-H camp. And those Camp Basswood's week-long camp, but we provide enrichment activities, science, math, and reading, and that's an all-day camp. Next is the families in training. So the goal of this component is to ensure a productive start in life for every child ages prenatal through 5, and promote a strong foundation for future school success. So the North Hancock Family Resource Center has contact with families through group meetings that provide parent support and education. Some of those examples is I think couple of the pictures on the next page is the Born Learning Academy. We have active parenting workshops, and then we have a community-wide baby shower. But the Born Learning Academy and the active parenting, it's been a great opportunity for our caregivers to, whether they're grandparents, parents, or babysitters, to come together. And it's a lot of child development and type of learning, but they've had so much opportunity to kind of share what's going on, with their children. And it's been like I said, a great opportunity for them to just open up and know they're not alone in what's going on in their home. So, and I'm not very good at making sure I get pictures of stuff, so I apologize. It's you get everything planned, and then you get to the end, and evaluations and pictures is what I struggle with the most. So that's something I'm working on. The health services or referrals to health services, the goal of this component is to improve the overall health and well-being of our students through activities that support the whole school, whole community, and whole child model, therefore increasing students to succeed in school. As you can see, this is one of my bigger components. So we have oral health through our School Smiles program. And honestly, I don't know what we would do without this program, because trying to find a dentist for our students on Medicaid is very difficult. Some of us have to travel an hour and a half to see the dentist. So that program is great. The local dentist, we have a local dentist that comes in and talks to our kindergartners about the importance of oral health. Our Lions Club, they provide eye exam and glasses for students who don't have vision insurance. Girls on the Run, here in a second, on the next slide, I'll talk more about that. We do nutrition awareness for K through second. The UK Cooperative Extension comes in to teach those classes. I've got a sleep detective group that I'm going to work on this year, because based on my needs assessment, the lack of sleep is one of the health reasons that holds back our students from being able to succeed in school. So I've got a group that I'm going to teach to kind of talk to them about healthy sleep habits and keep track of their sleep for a couple of weeks. And then mental health services, we have 2 school-based therapists. So the school counselor and myself are the contacts for referring students to our school-based therapist. Green River District Health Department in Owensboro, they have come in to do vaping presentations for our 4th and 5th grade. We noticed that was starting to we were starting to see that issue in some of our older elementary students. So we wanted to make sure that we try to get on that early, be proactive, and provide that information to our students. And then New Beginnings, we've had them in for a Play It Safe program for our 4th and 5th grade. And then I do provide transportation to for our students who need that for any type of doctor's appointments, or vision, dental, whatever it may be. I'm available to help transport. So I just want to talk a little bit more about the Girls on the Run. We do an impact report at the end of each year for at least one of our programs. So for a couple of years, I have done a report for Girls on the Run, and it's a running club, but also a social emotional club. The girls are with some dogs at the animal shelter. That was their community service learning project to just provide awareness of the animal shelter and raise dog food and toys for the animal shelter. But you can see we did a pre and post test there, and there was a positive change in their physical activity as well as their outlook and their thoughts about themselves. So this educational support and enrichment core component is actually an optional component that I failed to mention earlier. So again, a lot of the family resource centers are going to have optional components that are similar. They might be named slightly different, but so the optional component of educational support may include activities such as character education, mentoring, and it may address just core content and other educational needs identified through the school's comprehensive school improvement plan. I think on the next page, I have some pictures of these activities and programs that fall under this component. We've got reading buddies. We have some retired teachers or just volunteers that come in and read with our younger grade students. We've got a Guys with Ties and Girls with Pearls group that's for our 5th grade, just to teach some different skills. And we do a lot of partnering with our community and with our high school as well. We transport them to our high school, and they teach the guys how to use some tools, and we've taught them how to change a tire, check the oil. So, and then you can see some of them, they are learning how to tie on a tie or how to make an omelet. So we've got some books that we use for that, and each student goes home with that book, the Manual to Manhoods for the boys. And then at the end, they get a tie or they get a set of pearls to once it's the end of that group. And we do that during their lunch period. Okay, the next optional component is the student and family support component. So this component is designed for student and family support and may include services such as basic needs, emergency assistance, holiday assistance, food assistance, and assistance with school supplies, and more may fall under that component as well. So like you saw in the video tour, the backpack food program, that's always a huge need for our families here, as well as the Holiday Helping Hands Christmas Assistance Program. The school supplies is huge. I think I passed out about 150 school supply bags for our students, and that's something all of our students can sign up for. And then there's just other individual needs assistance, utilities and things like that just come up, every once in a while. So. Oh, and there's pictures of our Christmas assistance and our Stuff the Bus for the school supplies. So community partnerships, and I may have failed to list some others out. I was trying my best to think of all of them, but a lot of these community partners offer resources, free resources, or like St. Vincent de Paul, we partner with them on, several different projects, but our biggest one is our Christmas assistance. They provide shoes, socks, underwear, the Toys for Tots, they do that. So all of those, we don't have to, put any money towards. They provide that for all of our families. We reach out to Audubon area community services for, electric bills, water, and then we have the food pantry. That's our county food pantry that offers that monthly. Again, our local businesses and industry and churches are a huge partnership. They really support the family resource centers. The public library, we partner a lot, especially for our early childhood events. Again, the South Hancock FRC and Hancock County YSC, for us being a small community, we try to do a lot of, district type of events together. And again, the UK Cooperative Extension and Kentucky State University, they're new, but we are starting to partner with them on some projects as well, programming. So I do have a parent guardian testimony. This is Teresa Roberts. She is a grandparent. She has a second grader and she has a preschooler as well. If you don't mind, I'll just read her testimony about the Family Resource Center. It is with a grateful heart that I share about the personal and community impact of the North Hancock Family Resource Center. For over 20 years, I have worked with the FRC in a multitude of ways. Originally, the FRC helped administration, PTO, and staff to combine Hallsville and Lewisport elementary schools into North Hancock Elementary School. Since then, I have connected with the FRC through my own children attending North Hancock, my professional role as a director of early childhood programs, and most recently, my grandchildren's attendance of North Hancock. Programs like the World's Greatest Baby Shower, Back to School Nights, Kindergarten Jump Starts, Born Learning, and active parenting events are all implemented to target kindergarten readiness with a special emphasis on social emotional readiness. The most personally helpful programs have been Born Learning and active parenting. I am currently the primary caregiver for my grandchildren who are 7 years old and younger. When I worked in early childhood programs and was raising my children, the world seems vastly different to what it is now. I have struggled with the amount of appropriate technology and with new teaching strategies that my grandchildren mention in homework time. Born Learning helped me to think through practical strategies in my home. It reinforced the early childhood education I have and reignited my passion for teaching children again, but in my home. It helps me to think through using what I have available to engage them in purposeful play. I remember making musical instruments in Born Learning class to practice listening skills. It was such a joyful time of connection between my granddaughters and myself. The active parenting class was a fantastic opportunity for me to connect with other caregivers raising their children and grandchildren. We often discussed the struggles we faced and then strategized together in working through those struggles. I often find it overwhelming to be raising littles again. Purposeful play helps me work through those feelings of anxiousness and to intentionally engage them in conversations. In turn, we have been able to communicate better with each other. I am incredibly grateful for the FRC and the programs they offer. I genuinely believe FRCs are indispensable to the success of the children, their families, and our communities.
What a great testimony, Lacey. Thank you for sharing that with us. We wanted to share really quickly about some lessons learned. We feel like that's really important as we think historically and also in our current situations. So, for the state level, a lesson learned and something that's really important is to have a grassroots advocacy group. And so that was put in place very early on with our Family Resource and Youth Services Centers as a Frisky coalition. And we feel like through that, that's how we have been able to sustain our work and grow over the last 35 years. They've been a great advocacy group, and having them there has been one of the key pieces of our sustainability. Then also at the local level, Lacey and I discussed this, and I think this is probably some true lessons for most of the coordinators that are working throughout the state, and that is the time commitment that it takes. Building relationships aren't happening overnight, and that's really a key piece. The relationships between the coordinators, the community partners, and the school personnel, and that's what those center coordinators work really hard to do and take a lot of time to do. And so it doesn't develop overnight, and it can sometimes take 1, 2, and 3 years to really for a coordinator to really feel like that they are ingrained and integrated into that school community and making a difference. And just to go along with that, change doesn't happen overnight, and the programs will develop over time. So there may be programs that Lacey has started, but that she has been able to hand off to other folks and then focus her time in other areas. And so programs will develop over time, as the needs arise, and then also as she develops those relationships and partnerships. And the events or supports to families may transition over to another group or another entity, and then she'll work on another piece that's there within her community. So all of the programming and the services will develop over time as well. There's both of our contact information if you were to have any. I know we have some questions in the chat for Lacey. And so one of them, Lacey, is the Girls on the Run and Girls with Pearls and Guys with Ties program optional or mandatory?
So we first started that program. We tried to choose students, or myself, the counselor, or the teachers tried to choose students who maybe were having attendance issues or behavior issues. Maybe they lacked a male figure in the home. So that's kind of what we did at first. But then we had a student said, well, why am I not invited? So we kind of relooked at that, and we opened it up to all fifth grade boys if they wanted to attend this program. So it's optional. And one time we had almost 20 that wanted to sign up, and we had to split it into 2 different sessions because we do transport them to the high school. So we try to keep that to about 12, what we can fit into our board vehicles. But yeah, it's optional, and we open it up to all fifth grade boys.
And then how long is lunchtime in order to have Guys with Ties and the Pearls program?
It is 30 minutes. For the times that we go, which we just take them one time to the high school, we let the teachers know that up front that they will be a little bit longer for that session, but we keep it at 30 minutes. And sometimes their playtime, I think, falls right after lunch. Some of them don't like missing playtime. Some of them don't mind it. So if there are a few that want to stay a little bit longer to finish up a project, they can do that. But we try to usually keep it 30 minutes. And there's always a community. Sorry, they're mowing outside. There's always a community individual that comes in to teach them a skill.
Awesome. Another question for you, Lacey, is do families need transportation to school, or is there a school bus that picks up the students?
So we have school buses that pick up our students for school. There are times that students may miss the bus. So I am available to take our board vehicle to pick those students up. Doesn't happen often, but we do have that available. But no, they have school buses.
Okay. Do you translate and provide interpretation for Spanish-speaking families?
I do not. The center does not. That is, we do have someone in the district. She is at our alternative school just down the road. She does translate for us when we have our families come in for meetings. That is something, though, that I'm working on for providing English classes for our families. We don't have an adult education program in our community anymore. So the closest is 30 minutes away, but it looks like that, some of those those mothers will need transportation. So I will provide transportation to those classes.
Awesome. What were some key ways you developed community relationships with business partners?
So again, it is nice that I grew up in the community. So I know a lot of our business, the people that work in our business. I would say any type of community events that you may just see those faces out in the community and let them know what you're doing. But phone calls, going to the business just to let them know what the Family Resource does. And, we've never had any issues with, if we ask for support for our backpack program or for the school supply bags, they're, always willing, when it's for students, they're always willing to provide what we need. But yeah, I would say just getting out in the community. Even though we are in the school, we do go out into the community a lot for those community meetings. We try to get on any type of board that, like the food pantry, any type of those kind of boards that they have, to get on those and just get our face out there, what Family Resource Center is.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the information, Marianne and Lacey. We truly appreciate having you here. I want to give everybody another opportunity. Do you have any more questions for our amazing presenters from Kentucky? All right, without any further questions, let's go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint and kind of wrap up for today. So, some Family Resource Center resources. If you go to the FRC page of the NFSN website, you will find FRC overviews. You'll find videos, research reports, and systems level funding information. And you can find that at www.nationalfamilysupportnetwork.org/family-support-programs. We also have our Webinar Wednesdays library, which has lots of information and a lot of these recordings in there. The Family Resource Center Learning Hub, you can access that at www.nationalfamilysupportnetwork.org/FRC Learning Hub. So if you're wanting to learn more, please click on that and get to it. At this time, we will go ahead and have Katie drop into the chat the link for the National Forum, which gets started in about 37 minutes. So it's 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, depending on where you are. But we are so grateful that you came and tuned in. We are so appreciative of Marianne and Miss Lacey for just going over such rich information about community partnerships and just showcasing the amazing work that you all are doing in Kentucky. You guys are a leader in the field, and we really appreciate it. We will see you all soon in the National Forum.
So did you say there was a link to the forum? Should I have that in my?
It should still be in the chat at the
Oh, in
very.
the chat. Okay. Okay. I see it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Lacey. It was great to learn
You're
about all
welcome. Thank
Kentucky
you.
shit. So we really, really appreciate it. You're
You're,
amazing.
oh, thank you so much.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.